welcome! Every day, no matter how busy life gets, I always make time for a cup of tea. It's my way to take a few minutes out of the day to unwind and relax. If I'm not in a rush, I'll actually make a pot of tea in my Ian McIntyre teapot. It's a re-engineered Brown Betty Teapot made by Cullen Ceramics, a company located in England. No one knows precisely how Brown Betty teapots got their name, but since the late 1600s, Brown Betty teapots were recognized by their manganese brown glaze known as Rockingham glaze. The red clay found in Staffordshire is also perfect for retaining heat necessary for keeping tea warmer longer. The early teapots were tall and thin, but changed in the early 19th century and became what we see today. They became popular during the Victorian age because supposedly Queen Victoria loved making tea in her Brown Betty. So my Ian McIntyre teapot is a fairly new design with an inverted lid useful for stacking and has a downturn spout, and it comes with a tea infuser basket. So traditionally you would put the loose tea in the pot directly and use a tea strainer like this one to keep the leaves from getting into your cup. Again, because this is a clay teapot, it absorbs the tannins from the tea and holds in the tea flavors the more you use it, so you don't use soap to wash it. Just take out the tea leaves, rinse it, and turn it over to drip dry. The brown color glaze hides any tea staining inside the pot. So don't forget, do not use soap to wash out the pot. Just rinse it out and let it drip dry. Of course, tea time doesn't have to be fancy, and if you don't have a lot of time, a simple cup with your favorite tea bag is perfect. Today, I'm going to make a small pot of tea, but because this is a clay teapot, I have to temper it first so the boiling water won't crack the pot. I do this by filling the teapot with hot water from the tap and letting it sit for a few minutes just to take the chill out of the pot. I've read you can also put hot water from the tap into the pot, swirl it around, dump it out, and let it stand for a couple minutes before pouring in the boiling water. But for me, I feel more comfortable letting the hot water sit for a bit before pouring it out. So for this size pot, I'm going to put in about 1 teaspoon of loose leaf tea for each cup, which is about 2.5 to 3 cups for my size cups, even though the pot technically holds 4 cups of tea. I think these are either smaller cups or half-size cups. I enjoy a breakfast tea the best. It's a very straightforward black tea, and I let it steep for a full 5 minutes to ensure it's the strength I like. Steeping black tea can be anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, depending on your preference. So it looks like the water's boiled, and I'm going to pour in water just above the pouring hole. And then I will put the lid on and let it steep for the full 5 minutes, or whatever your preference is. So while that steeps, what do I like to have with tea? Well, the simplest accompaniment to tea are biscuits, or cookies as we say in the United States. Now I'm not talking about chocolate chip cookies or oatmeal cookies. While I will never pass up a homemade baked treat to have with my tea, my video today is on traditional tea biscuits. So this is a local grocery store, and they have a very small section of British foods, and we see some digestive biscuits here, some hobnobs, and here's a close-up of some digestives. Here's a close-up of the hobnobs. Some have chocolate on the top, shortbread. Here's some rich tea biscuits, and here are the hobnobs again. And this is another shop near my home, and they have a little bit more of a variety of international foods. And here you can see rich tea, some Cadbury fingers. There's some other foods from other countries like the Irish shortbread, the digestives again, and digestives of a different brand. There's the McVitie's, and then there's the Burton's. Some Walker shortbread, which some of you are familiar with. This is probably more popular here in the US that people would be visually. Jammy Dodgers were new. I had never seen those. I've had the Crawfords before. and I saw that these were new. These are ginger nuts, and I do love ginger cookies, but I have not tried those, or ginger biscuits, I'm sorry. The fig rolls, the no custard creams. I know those are popular. Some oaties, and there are some very good oat biscuits that I enjoy as well. Some more shortbread, and a different brand of the rich tea biscuits. And these are digestives. They're made from wheat flour, but I think they have a similar taste to a graham cracker. However, texture-wise, they're crunchier, flakier, more crumbly and dense, yet not overly sweet. So why are they called digestives? Just a bit of history. When digestives were first manufactured in the early 1800s, they were actually advertised to help with digestion due to an ingredient found in the biscuits, sodium bicarbonate, which was commonly used to alleviate digestive aches and pains. Even Scottish doctors in the late 1800s believed this and suggested digestives to their patients. There are several brands of digestives today, but the McVitie's brand is the best-selling digestive in the UK. And if your local grocery store doesn't have a British or international food section, you can always find these digestives and other brands on Amazon. So these are rich tea biscuits. This is the Burton's brand. These are crispier than digestives and lighter in texture. I believe they have a cracker-like texture. So do you know those Pepperidge Farms butterfly crackers here in the United States? They taste and remind me a lot of those, just with a hint of sweetness without the butter. So that may sound weird, but they are very good, trust me. So a bit of history on rich tea biscuits. They were actually called tea biscuits when they were first developed back in the 17th century in Yorkshire, England. The upper classes would snack on them between meals. I believe the tea is ready, and let's see the color. Oh, it looks perfect. So I take mine with milk and sugar, but you do whatever you like. The one thing that I highly discourage is using cream, because cream doesn't mix well with tea. It kind of sits there and floats on top of the tea, and I find it's also too rich for tea. I think you would lose that lovely tea flavor. Regular fat milk, or even 2%, is best for tea. 1% or zero fat milk is okay for a bit of flavor, but I find it just waters down the tea. Now, I've never tried nut or oat milks, but I'm sure they would be fine as long as they are plain flavored, not unflavored, and obviously not vanilla or any other weird flavors. So use regular fat of milk alternatives, because I have seen oat milk in various fat contents. Now, should you pour the milk in first? No, that's not necessary with the way dishes are made today. Back in the day, cups were made from softer porcelain, which was less expensive than china and tended to crack from the sudden temperature change when pouring in the hot tea. So to prevent cracking, they would pour milk in first to ease temperature change between the cup and the hot liquid. But before you go, for those of you in the States, you may not be aware that dunking tea biscuits is a thing. For some, it's an art. My husband is from Scotland, and he's the one who introduced me to tea and biscuits. And he will hold his biscuit in his tea until he thinks it won't disintegrate and fall into the teacup. Here he is to give you a demonstration. And let's see if he can get it into his mouth before it falls into the teacup or on the table. Oh, yay, he did it, and it didn't land anywhere where it shouldn't. Yay. So, well, that's all there is for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!